welcome back. My name is Hex. Welcome back to Narcissist Hex channel. Today I want to talk about the sinister motives behind love bombing. They call it love bombing. It's a super hyper aggressive way to basically make someone fall in love with you. Okay, so for beginners, I'll just tell you a little bit about my experience. It cost me over $1,000 to love bomb my ex-wife. So, again, it did help to expedite the process of her falling in love with me. However, I was only able to keep the mask on for so long and be Mr. Perfect for so long. It got to be a bit uncomfortable to be so caring and so giving. I knew her about 3.5 weeks and I gave her over $1,300. That's one of my love bomb strategies. And it worked. It was successful. She never met a guy that had been so giving. I didn't even ask for the money back, if you could believe that. Some of her exes at the time were not even willing to pay for dinner. So I wanted to show her something massively different and obviously expedite the love bombing process and make her fall in love so I can get my mask off and start the devaluing and discarding, all that good stuff. It is an uncomfortable topic, but it is an extremely important topic to discuss. So that's from my perspective, somebody that actually did it. So we'll just clarify what it is. On paper, it's an intense and overwhelming display of affection, compliments, even money, attention at the very beginning of the relationship. So it's designed to make you feel adored, special, the most beautiful woman in the universe. And that's what I used to call my ex-wife. Dr. Sam Vaknin put it best when he said, it becomes a shared fantasy. So not only does the victim believe they have met their soulmate, but the narcissist actually believes it too, to an extent. We do. Yes, we have patterns that we run. We run certain patterns. We don't necessarily know why we're doing it. Not always. But we do sort of kind of believe that fantasy in the beginning when our mask is on. We start to believe it ourselves. It's a shared fantasy. Sam Vaknin is actually right on that one. But once you fall in love with us, you fall in love with the fantasy itself. So after that, you're never the same person. So I'll give you some more reasons why I engaged in love bombing. Love bombing for me, while I was mostly unaware of what I was doing, there was a part of me that knew that if I could sell you on the love bombing, then I could do whatever I wanted, of course. You will always think back to this moment and strive to have it again. It's an addiction of sorts. I could insult you, hurt you very badly, manipulate you, but you would forgive me. So it is a way, strategy to lock you in, so to speak, so you won't ever leave us. It gives me the upper hand right off the bat. Love bombing, it isn't sustainable. It never really quite lasts too long. Each person's experience with love bombing is going to be a little bit different. So I can take my mask off and stop love bombing when I know I have you in love with me. Then it's safe. So now we can get that pesky mask off. It's a notable example is what I told you, less than 2 months, I felt safe enough to drop my mask with my ex-wife after the love bombing phase. So after about 2 months, a little more than 2 months, I broke up with her and dumped her. And I knew that I made her reliable enough on me that she would come crawling back. I knew that. I can't explain why or how, but inside of me, my evil narcissist knew beyond a shadow of a doubt she would come calling back, and that's exactly what happened. A few days later, she actually called me. I was blocked every category, Facebook, everything from her, but she called me. And I knew it worked, and I knew she would, and I don't know how that happened. But my internal narcissist, the evil side of me, told me she is going to contact you. And she did. I just knew it. I'd given her over $1,000 by that point, and I had spun this love story, a fantasy. So who wouldn't be drawn in enough to come back? So, I mean, for anyone else, how do you recognize love bombing in a relationship? So you have to look for something overwhelming in the beginning. Excessive flattery, constant texts, calls, over the top displays of affection. Again, going back to me and my ex-wife, it was over $1,000 in only a few weeks' time. I wanted to just make sure I had tied her up to me as much and as quickly as possible so I can get that mask off. Like I said, it's uncomfortable, very uncomfortable for a covert narcissist to be nice too long. It doesn't last. Actually, as a side note, I just remembered I did propose the idea of marriage early on with my ex-wife within a matter of weeks after we got back together. As soon as we got back together, I proposed marriage. After the love bombing, after I dumped her, she called me. We got back together. I asked her to marry me. That's to accelerate the relationship. I knew that the tighter we were linked, the harder it would be for her to leave me. So, I mean, as someone who has engaged in love bombing, I've come to realize the importance of personal growth and change, internal change for myself, not for anyone else. It's crucial to address the insecurities I had, the fears I had, that drive this sickening, toxic behavior. Seeking therapy actually really helped me out a ton. I can't stress this enough. If you or someone you know has any type of narcissism, traits, covert narcissist, communal narcissism, whatever, therapy can help. It just takes a lot of work and a lot of time. You can't rush that, unfortunately. So if somebody has love bombed you in the past, although it is difficult, I'm going to tell you it is possible to unlearn these behaviors and do better. That's what I've done. I've completely changed my strategy. Any healthy relationship progresses naturally. Over the top displays of money within a matter of weeks, that's not always good. Not always healthy, I should say. And it's not a long-term strategy. So for me, changing myself, I did become a happier person. And the person I'm with now, we're not living in a fantasy world. You know, the love bombing is over. It didn't happen with us, but there was a love bombing phase. It was a natural one. A lot of relationships can go through love bombing phases, healthy, natural ones. The love, the passion, the desires, it weakens over time, but it doesn't necessarily go away. Love bombing is from one extreme to the other, a completely unhealthy pattern of behaviors. It's an overwhelming desire to make that person fall in love with you. Me being a covert narcissist, internally, I struggled with that because I was super insecure. And another part of this, I was just trying to get them to fall in love with me so I could start devaluing them. But also, I was super insecure and I wanted to make sure this person felt something for me. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense, but I don't think a normal, healthy person is going to ever fully 110% understand why narcissists do certain things. And part of that reason is maybe it's not good for you to fully understand it. And maybe it's something nobody else understands. Part of me really doesn't understand it myself, honestly. I know I did certain things and I followed certain patterns. I know why now, but at the time I didn't understand it fully. All right. So for today, I guess I'll start to wrap it up a little bit here on the love bombing. I gave you a little bit from my perspective. It is a very sinister pattern of behaviors that a sick person or toxic person will impose on you in the beginning of a relationship. It's completely, utterly unhealthy. So, the only real solid way to filter it out is to just simply take your time in relationships and let the relationship progress slowly. Eventually, a covert narcissist like myself, the mask will drop, the mask will fall. My true self will come calling out, will come screaming out of me. Eventually, something will happen 6 months or a year down the line, even, and you'll understand what's going on. The toxic person will show themselves. See, part of me keeping my mask on and love bombing my ex wife was a massive struggle. It was so difficult to hold that mask on and be Mr. Perfect and love bomb this person. It was only a matter of months and I wasn't able to keep it on anymore. So for me, it was 2 months and I just kind of, went off the rails a little bit. I dumped her, but it was all after giving her over $1,000 and trying to ask her to marry me. And I dumped her and then asked her to marry me. I kind of restarted the program, not necessarily love bombing, but a shared fantasy. Dr. Sam Vaknin said it best. I don't agree with most of the things that this guy says, but a lot of the things he says makes perfect sense. It was a shared fantasy, so I sold my ex-wife on that. Obviously, it didn't work. My advice, if you feel like you're getting love bombed, drag the relationship out. 6 months, even a year. Drag it out. Something will give you a sign somewhere along the line. They'll go crazy in a restaurant. They'll cuss someone out. They might be super toxic, but only to pets or a waitress or a waiter or somebody else, not you. And you'll start to understand it. And eventually that toxic hate, that rage, that darkness, that sick toxic acid is going to leak out. Our mask will fall off eventually. Covert narcissist, we can't keep the mask on too long. So my advice is simple. Just take your time. Drag it out as long as possible. Believe me, the truth will always reveal itself to you if you take your time, if you look for the truth, if you pursue the truth. And do not ignore the red flags. Rushing into things. Don't ignore those red flags. Don't ignore on the third date they say they love you. That's not healthy. That's not good. It's impossible. You can't love someone within 3 dates. So you can't fall in love with someone in a matter of weeks. It's not possible. I mean, I'm sure it's happened, obviously, but it's a red flag, especially nowadays. It's a red flag. Okay, so that'll wrap it up for today. I hope this video was helpful to you and informative. Please like and subscribe if you like my content. Share it too. I do want to thank you for tuning in today. It was a pleasure, and I hope I helped somebody out today. And I hope you have a great, safe week. Stay safe. Watch the red flags. Like and subscribe. Have a good week.